Hey guys, this looks like a fun one. We're given three congruent triangles inside of a semicircle, and it wants us to find the area of that semicircle. This is day 5 of our Aggvent calendar. For the month of December, we're going to solve 31 Katrina Ag puzzles in 31 days. And if you want to try this one, pause it right now because I'm going to solve it in 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking I want to start by writing a formula for what we're trying to solve. So let's mark the center of the semicircle and draw this radius here. And let's label it R. We can now write a formula for the area of the semicircle. It'll be equal to pi r squared divided by 2. This looks important. Let's put a box around it. And now we got to solve for R. I'm thinking let's focus on our congruent triangles. Since these two congruent triangles are both lined up on the straight edge, that means each of these angles will be right angles. And then this triangle is congruent, so this will also be a right angle. Since this is the height of this triangle, let's call it h. And then this side is a hypotenuse that will correspond with this side, so it's also equal to 10. And now I got to try to find a value for this other side. Let's call this distance here x, and this last side is going to be an entire radius r minus this x. So it'll be r minus x. Now we have three sides of a right triangle. Let's do the Pythagorean theorem. It'll be r minus x squared plus h squared equals 10 squared. And now let's try to find another triangle. Let's draw this radius here and call it r. And then let's draw this side to here so that we can draw this side perpendicular to this side. And now we got another nice looking right triangle here. This side is the same length as this side, so it'll also be equal to h. And then to get this side, let's copy this x up here. This side will be equal to 10 minus x, since it's the whole length 10 minus this piece here. And now we got another right triangle, we can do Pythagorean theorem. It'll be 10 minus x squared plus h squared equals r squared. And now we can play around with these. We can use elimination to get rid of these h squareds. On the left hand side, it'll be the quantity r minus x squared minus the quantity 10 minus x squared. And then on the right hand side, we'll have 10 squared minus r squared. Now from here, these are going to take up a lot of room, so let's smush everything up here. On the left hand side, this quantity r minus x squared is going to be this right here. And then this negative quantity 10 minus x squared is going to be this right here. And then on the right hand side, 10 squared is equal to 100, and we can bring down the r squared. Now this is pretty crazy looking. Let's set it all equal to 0. We can subtract 100 from both sides and add r squared to both sides. Now we can combine like terms, so let's bring this over here. We have 2r squared minus 2xr. These are going to cancel. Minus 200 plus 20x equals 0. Let's smush everything together, and everything is divisible by 2, so let's divide both sides by 2. That'll give us r squared minus xr minus 100 plus 10x equals 0. And now we can try factor by grouping. Got to rearrange these two. First, we got to factor r squared minus 100. This is the difference of two squares. It'll become r plus 10 times r minus 10. And then for these two, we can pull out a greatest common factor of negative x. Negative xr divided by negative x is r, and positive 10x divided by negative x is negative 10. Now we can factor again. We have this minus this. Each of them contains an r minus 10, so let's factor out the r minus 10. After we factor an r minus 10 out of this, we're left with r plus 10. And after we factor it out of this one, we're left with a negative x. So now we have the quantity r minus 10 times the quantity r plus 10 minus x equals 0. I ran out of room, so let's give ourselves some more room. Anytime you have something times something equals 0, it'll be true if either of those somethings equals 0. So we have either r minus 10 equals 0 or r plus 10 minus x equals 0. Now we can simplify each of these. For this one, let's add 10 to both sides, and we end up with r is equal to 10. And that seems reasonable. And then for this one, let's get the r by itself by subtracting 10 and adding x to both sides. We end up with r is equal to x minus 10. But if we look up here, x is shorter than 10. So x minus 10 will give us a negative number, and we need the r to be a positive number. So this solution is not valid. So it looks like the radius of our semicircle is equal to 10. Let's plug it into the formula and find out the area. In the place of of the r, let's plug in 10. 10 squared is equal to 100, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. And now we have an area of 50 pi square units. Let's put a box around it. How exciting. This was day 5 of our Aggvent calendar, and this is day 6. We're given 2 congruent rectangles packed into a square. And it wants to know, what is this angle? This looks like a fun one. How exciting.